Hey everybody, happy Fab Fit Friday. I was so excited when I looked and saw there were comments before I actually got on. I apologize for being a couple minutes late. Let me say hi. Hi Nana Trish from New Zealand. Hey Mary from Swartz Creek, Michigan. It's 52 degrees here. Oh my goodness. It's colder here, Mary. It was like 36 degrees when I went hiking this morning. Ooh, Bonnie from Alberta, Canada. Andrea from uh, San Francisco Bay, California. Tana from Florida. Used to know some folks in Swartz Creek. Oh, that's so cool. Hey, Janie. Hey, Debbie from Atlanta. Welcome, everybody. Oh, I'm sorry, not Debbie. Beauty Beats 400. I think I need new glasses. All right, so I'm so happy you guys all came. And I just want to, let me just say hi to the embroidery homeschool mom from Massachusetts. Ooh, you're the closest. I'm in Connecticut. So like we're like state neighbors. Oh, you know what? I think I had a lady who wanted to know how to get onto my lives and I didn't answer her. So I'm going to have to tell her later after the fact. Okay, so, oh, it is Debbie. Oh, good. Yay. All right. Hey, Judy. Hey, Jess the mess. Hi from the North Texas, first time live. That wrap looks so cute. Oh, thank you guys so much. Hi DIYer girl, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, so I'm just gonna make a small little announcement that I've had significantly less time to work this week because my mom is in the hospital. I don't believe it's serious at this point. I think she just had a UTI. So I've been running back and forth to the hospital so my dad can get a break from being there. And I have to rush there later today for the dinner shift. So I really wanted to have my wrap finished. And you know what? If I had picked a simple fabric like a fleece or a flannel or even a wool flannel, something double-sided, something that I didn't have to line, I would be finished. So basically, I'm not finished. So I'm going to extend this out to next week because I don't want to rush. And I don't want anyone to feel bad. I'm not telling you that to make anybody feel bad or anything. I just, it's been since Tuesday night. I've been there every day and I'm the farthest one away. So it's been a lot of time in the car, just to help out with that. So I apologize, but I am excited because I have a bunch of tips. If anybody wants to make this version, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay it down so you can see what I have done so far here. Let me switch my view. Hey, Vicky from Virginia, going to watch this, then take the Chihuahua for a walk. Demolition part of my dress to take a sewing break. Oh, Mary says UTI is very dangerous for a person in her physical mental condition. Prayers for her. Yeah, it's, you know what? I'm trying to figure out how we can better figure it out before it gets to the point where her eyes are the reason why they brought her to the emergency room is because her eyes were shut and she was not moving or communicating. And I really would like to figure out how to diagnose that quicker so it doesn't become this. But they're taking very good care of her, and I'm really hoping that she'll be able to go home tomorrow. So we'll see. Jess the mess says, it happens to the best of us. Good vibes and prayers your way. My last 3 months have felt the same way. Oh, I know. But, I'll tell you, I'm blessed with an amazing family. My brother and sister we're all pulling together and doing our parts to help my dad. So it's okay for now. And mostly I was disappointed because I wanted to finish this project. And it just physically could not happen. So basically, let me show you here. Ooh, let me move my favorite snack out of the way. I love this Chex Mix. I buy the supersized bag and it lasts me all month. Okay, so Oh, Andrea said there's home kits for UTIs in the drugstores and it works great for her mom. You know, I think that is a thing we're going to try, Andrea. Like when she starts to get quiet and when she keeps her eyes shut, we're going to maybe try that. That's one of the things we thought about. All right, so I just want to show you here. This pattern or this garment is basically a rectangle. And let me see if I can get it up any higher. I think that's as much as I can show. That's as wide as my angle will be. But you can see half of it here. It's basically a rectangle. Right, here's the hem. Okay, and it's got this curved opening for the center back neckline is here. Now, because you're cutting this all out as one long piece, something that's really, oh, Just the Best says, must have snacks for fuel. Oh my God, I do. And not only that, my daughter bought me a mouse-proof container because sometimes the mice come and steal my snacks. So see, I have this to put my snacks in, so the mice can't get them. Okay, so getting back onto this, if you're working with something that has a nap, so this definitely has, if you pet it, it pets this way. If I do it this way, see what happens? It's rough going this way. So you have to make a choice. Obviously, if I'm cutting this out in one piece, it's going to be going the wrong way. So if I flip it to the back now, you can see the back is going to be rough going on the downside, but you're not going to pet the back of you. So I thought that was the best choice. Andrea saying, is this faux fur knit? Nope. It's, oh, mice will chew through the plastic. Well, so far so good on that, Mary. I had it all last, you know, I've had that now since my birthday and they haven't broken in yet, but I will keep an eye on it. I know I feel bad for the mice because they want to come in, but I just don't enjoy them eating the same things I'm eating. That's the only thing. All right. So this is not knit. It's just a faux fur, but let me tell you something. Let me tell you a trick for this. This is, I went to Joann's in a pinch because I wanted to just get my fabric and get started. I didn't want to wait and order something. And this is the faux rabbit fur from Joann Fabrics. And here's a tip for you. If you want to get this, because it's expensive, it was $20-something a yard, but they put very few yards on each bolt. So if you look for a bolt that has 2 yards on it, or maybe a little bit more than 2 yards, they will sell it to you as an end of bolt. So I got this for 75% off because they called it an end of bolt because I bought the whole thing. So I went with this soft rabbit fur for the outside, and then because it's got this sort of tricot slippery inside, I went with something that was not slippery for the lining. So I chose black flannel. Okay, so the black flannel is easy to work with. The faux rabbit fur, not so easy. So I think, you know, giving yourself a break and choosing something that's easier to work with paired with something that's harder to work with will make the whole project more manageable. And here's the thing. If you've downloaded your pattern, you probably noticed that it's cut on the fold, right? So, oh, Mary says another Joann's near me is closing. I know, I keep hoping against hope the whole thing doesn't go down the tubes, but I don't know. I'm really not sure what's gonna happen with that, but you know, you can still order online from them. Oh, and DIY girl says smart strategic decision choosing which way to lay the pattern in light of the nap. Okay, so, but here's the thing. You don't want to cut this, anything faux fur, I would not cut on the fold. And if you've put your pattern together, it is on the fold, because I didn't want you to tape together twice as many pages to get a full, you know, a full piece. So here's how you get your full piece. I cut out the flannel first. And what I did was I pressed it in half, and I pressed a good crease down the center of the fabric, and I laid the pattern on the crease. I cut out a neat lining piece on the fold, and then I opened up that flannel piece and I laid it onto the back side of the faux fur to cut out in a single layer. Now here's another important thing. If it's at all possible and you can cut it out outside, do that. Or I didn't cut it outside, I cut it on my dining room table, but I cut it out, and then after I cut it out, I literally balled it up like this. I rolled it up all together, cut out. I put it in the dryer on no heat for about 2 or 3 minutes. And what it did was it got rid of all the fluff, because when you cut this stuff out, it makes a horrible mess. So you'll notice I also put the scraps. So you can see this is a scrap. And there's no fuzz because I put all the scraps in the dryer as well. And that way it fluffs out all the fur that falls off, you know, where you cut. So DIYer Girl says, use your lining as your pattern for the faux fur. Yes, exactly. That way you can cut it flat in a single layer. Okay, so that's what I did to cut it out. And actually, you'll see here, this is another thing. I put an Amazon affiliate link in the description below for these Clover jumbo clips, because guess what? After I cut out the faux fur with my lining as my pattern piece, it looked just like this. Imagine the whole thing, right? I kept these, I clipped all the edges together, and then I threw these clips in the dryer. Now, no heat, right? Low or no heat for 2 or 3 minutes. These clips were in the dryer. They did not fall off. And so I had my fabric pieces lined up. I didn't have to put them back together. So that's just a quick work of getting rid of the fluff, you know, using the lining as your pattern piece to cut out a single layer, clipping around the edge with these big clips. I don't know if the small clips would work. They might, but I had the big jumbo clips and I wanted to try them. So I clipped them around the edge, and then I threw the whole thing in the dryer and they stayed. And then I had everything lined up and ready to go to start quilting the layers together. Hey Diane, welcome. I'm reviewing the progress I've made on my holiday cozy wrap. All right, so then the next step is, if you're going to use a lining and you're going to use an outer layer, I like to stitch it together at least in a few places. So what I did was I laid it out like this. I'm blowing it out now, but you know, we can see it better blown out. But basically what I did was, because I had folded a crease down the center of the center back, which is right here, I drew my first chalk line down the center back. Then I drew I did 8 inches apart. So I drew a second line on either side, 8 inches apart, and then another one 8 inches from there. So I ended up with 4 rows of stitching. Okay. Quilting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sorry, 5 rows of quilting, because there's one here in the center. And then if I go here to the edge, there's one 8 inches away. There's one here. There's one here. And the reason why I'm showing it to you like this is, see how nice and flat this is laying? So after I chalked in my lines, how did I keep all these layers from shifting? I used and I left a couple here to show you, I used my Sew Tight magnets to adhere all the layers together. So I would put a Sew Tight every like 2 feet away from each other all the way across, so I could keep the layers together. And you'll notice I put the colored side against the right side of the fur. The metal side is against the flannel that's going to be face up. And then when I went to sew the layers together, if you put the plastic against the feed dogs as you sew, the magnetic power does not attract the stitch plate and get caught on it. So that's why my Sew Tights are face down. and I quilted the whole thing. So that's the progress I've made so far. I'm going to take these off now. So now the next step is I started to sew the layers together and around the edges. So you'll see here, I've already sewn. Oh, and here's the other thing. Oh, let me make it not so bright. Oh, wait, let me get rid of some of this brightness here now. Okay, so the other thing is when you quilt the layers together, you want to go in the direction of the fur again. So I started at the back hem and I stitched in the direction of the fur. So I'm going up the back, and then right around down the front. And I just want to get a real close-up of how the quilting looks on this fur, so you can see. So let me just show you. So see right here, so this is a line right here. See, they're not, see right here. It's not very noticeable, but if I had sewn in the opposite direction, it would have poked up the fur and it would have made it yucky probably. So you want to make sure when you're sewing the layers together, sew in the direction of the nap. So I went from center back neckline, then I went out and out. And if anybody's interested in seeing my process for using the sew tights, here's the other thing. If you use the sew tights, you can put it back on your ditto form to, or dress form or ditto form, to see if all the fabric is hanging right and if the lining is not fighting the fur somewhere. So, you know, sometimes when you line something and you stitch it down and then you hang it up and it's picking up the hem on the right side of the fabric, you can check all of that holding it with a sew tight. Or if you don't have sew tights, you can just pin it together. You can use safety pins or you could use bigger magic pins, whatever. But you do want to put the layers together and then hang it up and look at it and make sure everything is draping nicely. So that's how I got all that done. And again, I went with the grain or the nap of the fur. And then, let me just make this a little bigger now. Then what I did was I started here and I sewed down the center front edge to hold my layers together. So now you can see my layers are all sewn together. And then I started here and went down in this direction to sew these. So the last thing I want to do before I put the lining on is I want to, you know, just sew all the layers, the edges together so that they're easy to deal with. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I started sewing down the edge of this, okay, without doing any pinning or anything, and it was pulling uneven because the stitching that I used to put the layers together is 8 inches away. It's way over here. This is where I stitched the last row. So this is not close enough to the edge to keep these to behaving. So you have to pin the edges together. When I did my center front, this edge right here, I was only 4 inches away and I didn't need to pin these together to get them to hang straight. So I'm talking about like the fabric shifting on each other so it starts to, you know, get these wrinkles along the sewn edge because they're not lying one to one with each other. It appears that 4 inches away was enough to keep the edges together as I just sewed. So what I'm going to do now, well, I'm not going to do this now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about some ways to finish the edges, but basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use all of my clips to hold these layers together so when I sew around the edges they don't shift. So that way I can treat this as a single layer of fabric. Okay. So the next question becomes, how do I finish the edges? You could do a 3-thread wide using a decorative, larger, heavier thread. And I have some Wonderfill thread here that I got as a free gift when I was in Houston. It's their Glamour thread, and it's a thicker thread. This would be beautiful in the looper. you know, in the loopers, and then use a thread that matches your fabric in the needles to get a really pretty finish. Let me just zoom in on this so you can see this here. So see, this heavier thread would be really pretty as a decorative edge on your serger. See how thick that thread is? Oh, Just the Mess says, this is so many good tips. I may try to conquer this for my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Just the Mess. Oh, DIY Girl says pretty thread. Yes, Wonderfill makes really nice threads. And this thicker thread would actually make a really cool edge if you put your stitch length close together. So you can do something like that. Or another thing you can do is you can use a knit binding. Oh, hi, Sylvia Walter. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're from Germany, right? I think I remember that from last week. I actually have, and I think I said this last week, before I head down to see my mom later, I'm going to have a pants fitting class with my student from Germany. So I'm feeling very international today. All right, so another thing you can do is you can use a fabric. Oh, hi, Lean, welcome. Thanks for the inspiration on Christmas gifts. Well, I really wanted to try to do, like, I wasn't gonna, all right, let me tell you my thought process on all of the things I've been doing for freebies and giveaways for Christmas or Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, everybody. I don't want to just be, you know, single holiday. There's so many fabulous, you know, holidays that are so festive depending on what your beliefs are. And I think Hanukkah started last night. So happy Hanukkah to everybody. That's such a beautiful celebration. All the celebrations, happy, happy, happy. Oh, going worldwide. That's right. So I have to be up on all the world holiday traditions because I don't want to leave anybody out. What I was going to say is, have you heard of this Vlogmas thing? Sometimes a YouTuber will decide that they're going to do a vlog every day during December or more frequently during December to do more content and more holiday gift things or whatever for Christmas. And I couldn't feel that committed to a whole month. So instead, I decided to do sort of my own version of Vlogmas where I try to do some giveaways and some freebie things and some, you know, things like that. So I'm trying to be, you know, festive. And I have to say, I am having the time of my life. I am having so much fun with all of this stuff. So anyway, you could use a serger to finish. Oh, Jess says, yes, a cute idea, but looks exhausting. Haha. A cute idea to use the serger, Jess? Is that what you're saying? Frosty Fairy says, hello, it's 2:30 a.m. where you are right now. Just started subscribing from seeing all of your videos and all the technical tips really helps me understand and learn more about fitting. Well, good morning, Frosty Fairy. I hope you didn't stay up to watch this. If anybody is watching worldwide with me right now, just know these lives live on my channel. Just click the live tab and you can watch anytime. Although I do love when you watch live with me, but you don't have to be here live. Oh, Vlogmas. Oh, yeah. Yes, Vlogmas is a lot of work. And I will tell you that I'm not going to say who it is, but I have a YouTuber friend who participated in Vlogmas last year. And at the end of the month, she said she's not doing it anymore. So it wasn't even worth her time and energy. I don't know what her goals were. I'm not going to speak for that. But anyway, it is a lot of work. So I've gone with my own version of gifts and freebies during my normal scheduled programming is what I decided to go with. Oh, Diane, hi. Oh, you still didn't make it on time for the beginning. Someday. I just bid everyone peace and hope that fits for any holiday. Yes, it does. I love that. Peace. How easy or difficult would it be to sew the lining to the fur right sides together and then finish it with top stitching? DIYer girl, I'm glad you asked that question because that was my first idea. I was going to put these right sides together, sew around and flip it, but I was worried that it would be a little bulky. And maybe it would have worked out fine. I don't know, but that is an idea. You could totally put these layers together, sew them together like a pillowcase, basically leave an opening probably on one of the back side edges and turn it right side out. So you definitely can put the layers together and sew them. I just was concerned about how it would drape around the hem and around the side edges. Frosty Fairy says, "Oh no, this is fun to see this live." Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm so happy you're here at 2:30 in the morning. Just the mess. I'm working on starting a channel and looking at ideas. I can't imagine filming, editing, posting every day. It would take a lot of planning for sure. All right, so I want you to start a channel. You start a channel and I will promote your channel. Just keep me posted. But here's the best advice I can give you. If you're starting a YouTube channel, it's important to do what you say. So don't overpromise. So for example, when I first started, I did 2 days a week. I did Quick Tip Tuesday, Quick Tip Thursday. I tried a few different things, and then I settled upon a schedule that I now go with. But you know, if you're just starting out and the filming and the editing are challenging, I would go once a week or once every 2 weeks. And as long as you set that up as your expectation, people will follow that and they will wait for it and they will want to see what your next, what your next video is going to be. So that's my advice for that. Sylvia says, 10 times, Jess, I understood Loch Ness. I was wondering what you meant by that. Mary says, I have done that using a walking foot, works great. Yes. Well, of course, I'm working with my Janome 67P, which has a built-in walking foot. I'm always on a walking foot. So that did help me with this. I also think using either sew tights or pins to keep all the layers together helps. Judy says, if I sewn right sides together, you could end up with slippage and ripples. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, I might try it again on another version, but in my head, I already had an idea for finishing the edges, and I'm going to show you what that is in 1 second. So that's why I didn't even try it this time. Jess says, oh, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Under promise and over deliver is my motto. Yes, I love that. My husband likes to my husband likes to say exceed expectations. That's his motto. Exceed expectations. So I'm always trying to do that. All right, that's why I felt bad that this wasn't done today, because I promised it to be done. Now I did buy 2 very cool buttons at Joann Fabrics. You're gonna have to wait till next week to see them because I left them in the car and I'm not running down to get them. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what I have planned to finish the edges on my wrap today, and maybe I'll even start making the strips to do that. And then next week I'll have the binding around the edge, and I'm going to show you a few different ways to do closures next week. So if anybody is sewing along with me, you could have it all sewn and ready to go. I think I gave enough tips here to help you make quick work of getting it together to the point where you're ready to finish the edges, especially if you want to make a lining. Cut out the easier fabric, use it as a full piece so you can cut out your outside fabric in a single layer. Okay, so Just the Mess has to go because she has an appointment. But thank you for joining me, Jess. Don't worry. I know people have other things to do. And like I said, this lives live here, so you can see it later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick her on my ditto form here, just so you can see how she drapes nice and neat. And then I'm going to work on what I'm going to do for the binding. Now from the center back, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure my seam or the stitching at center back is at center back so I can get it to hang evenly. my ditto form. So I think you can see from the back, oops. See, that's hanging really nicely. I like the flow of it. Okay, and then here is my front. Okay, so I'm really, really happy with the way this is coming out. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna put her away for now, back here. All right, so what I decided to do is, quick question. If I make a tutorial using this pattern and credit you, is that okay? That's absolutely okay. Anybody can share anything that I share here as long as you give, as long as you mention my channel, or put a link to the pattern. All right, so now, do you remember this? I haven't stopped this yet. I'm working on this too, but I want to get through the holidays first. I'm just going to put it on over my shirt. This is my bias version of my top with sleeve, and I want you to take a close look at it one more time here. The sleeves are pretty close. See? I mean, I'm pretty happy with that sleeve. I might tweak it a little bit, maybe get rid of a little bit of the ease in the cap so it doesn't pucker, but I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to take it off. Now here's the thing about this top. Remember, I cut it out on the bias. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take apart this top and I'm going to use the silk charmeuse as binding for my wrap. So I'm repurposing this for my binding because it's the perfect shade of gray, like a dark charcoaly gray color, to go along with the fur. And then I think the edges will be very, cozy feeling. And I think at some point I started taking this apart using my, my new Kai rippers. Oh, Mary is asking me how the sleeves feel when I bring my arms forward. I have plenty of room, Mary. I have 2 different shirts on right now, so it's got a lot of padding under there right now. So basically, when I'm wearing it with nothing underneath it, they fit, it's comfortable, and it's roomy, and I can move. All right, so I'm going to use my Kai seam remover here. Now this actually, maybe, no. I think what I'm going to do instead, I'm not going to use the Kai remover because I know it's easier to, let me make sure I'm really focused. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trick to get rid of serged seams. And if nobody has seen, if someone has not, oh, look at this. My Sew Tights love my, my scissors. I got to put those away. Sew Tights did come out with a new organizer for their magnets. It basically looks like a metal easel and you can clamp all your things on there. I think I might need to get one. All right, so I'm going to tease apart my tails here. And you'll notice I have all black thread in my serger, but I can tell which edges are the needles because they're shorter. So I think you can see here, let me get in as close as I can. Okay, so I can see that I've got 2 longer tails and 2 shorter tails. I'm going to go ahead and pull the short tail. And what's going to happen is I'll be able to take these seams out really, really quickly. And here's the thing, because I cut this out on the bias, I'll be able to very easily cut myself bias strips that will work very nicely out of this, because I'm not going to do anything else with this top. I know what I need to do to fix it so it'll be how I want to wear it, but I'm never going to wear this. So instead of wasting this fabric, I'm literally going to cut it up into strips to finish my wrap. So there's 1 thread is already out. Now I'm going to get my next one. So you always want to look for the shorter threads after you tease them apart, because if you pull the looper thread, that will actually tighten the stitch down. And you don't want to do that because if you tighten the stitch down, then you're going to have a hard time getting it out, because once it's tightened down, it's not happy. And actually, I think I pulled the looper thread, so if you do make a mistake and pull the wrong thing, I'm literally going to just clip this apart here. So basically, see, now I can start over and find my needle thread. All right. Let me see. See, here it is. It's tiny. It's right here compared to my loopers. So now I know, see, now that I have it, I can pull it, and I'm just gently pulling it. You know what I feel like this is? I feel like I should talk about something else. And while I'm doing this, I've noticed all of these Instagram posts where someone's talking and they're giving like life lessons, but they're doing something unrelated, and it's fascinating. You're listening to the person talk, but you're watching what they're doing. It does not relate. Sylvia says, I told you last week I was going to trace the raglan sweater last week. I did, and I made it. It worked perfectly. I wished I'd shown it to you and all your followers. It turned out so nice. Thank you very much. You're a great teacher. Oh, well, Sylvia, if you email me a picture of it, I can share it next week. I can put it right on the screen if you want at jsterndesigns37@gmail.com. And I will share it with everybody next week if you want to share it. I'm so happy that that worked out. I'm so excited for you. I love raglan sleeve. Oh, Mary goes, nah, just be yourself. I know. I just feel like when I get to a section of a project where I feel like it's something really silly like this, I feel like I'm making you guys watch paint dry or something. I don't know. But I just want to get this apart so I can show you how I'm going to cut my strips. And then I'm going to call it a day today, but I will have it all together for next week, and then I will show you some ways to close it. Now here, this is interesting. Here I serged, and then something happened and I had to do a separate seam. So you can see it took it out this far. And one of the benefits of taking out your seam the way I'm doing it is you end up with a big long piece of thread versus all the little picked pieces if you cut it with a seam ripper. So this is easier to clean up after. But notice here, I've got my two loopers. See how long the looper thread is right here? Well, I can clearly see that my needle threads are right here because they're short. Oh no, that's the looper thread from the other part. All right, I'm going to start from the top. Actually, so I'm going to clip, I don't think I need to, I think I can just, yeah, here. So I'm going to pull out the needle threads from the top now, and then this will be apart, and then I can show you how I'm going to cut this. Now remember, if you are working with silk on the bias, it's not going to fray very much, so I'm not going to worry about finishing the inside edge of these strips that I'm going to finish with. All right, so see how cool this is? Let me show you this. I'm going to widen out my view so you can see. All right, so I've got my edge. Now this edge is on the bias, right? This is the edge I just cut out. So what I'm going to start doing here is I'm just going to start cutting. I'm going to do a narrow edge on the wrap. So I think I'm going to cut 1.5 inch strips. And if you're going to be finishing your edges with binding and you're using the if you're using the wrap the size it is, meaning you didn't shorten it or lengthen it or change the width of it, you're going to need almost 8.5 yards. So I'm hoping I have enough. I'm going to see. I'm just going to start cutting, and I'm going to see if I can come up with 8.5 yards of strips here. So that's what I'm going to do. So I took out one seam. I'm just going to take out the other seams just like it, because you can see over here I have another seam on the bias. And I'm just going to cut my strips. I'm going to sew them together. I'm going to sew it around the edge. And then I'm going to use them to finish the edges of my wrap. So that's going to be my plan for that. So I think that's going to be a good stopping point for now, because clearly you don't need to see me take this whole thing apart and cut my strips, because I'm literally just going to follow. Oh, I'm going to press this edge and I'm going to follow along this and just start cutting 1.5-inch strips. So that's what I'm going to do to get my strips for finish my edges. Oh, Tana says, the raglan sleeve I drafted per instructions were great. I have a new top copied. I love that. I am so excited. I love to hear stuff like that. You know, I love it when someone sees something, whether I showed it or someone else showed it, and then you try it and you are successful. I think that is like the most exciting thing. So that is exciting. All right, so I think based on everything else I have to do today, I think I'm going to sign off. But if you have any questions or comments and you're working on the wrap, you can either post your questions under this video. I check my questions every day, every morning. So if you have questions, I will answer you. Or if you're in the J Stern Designs Fit Sew Embroider Facebook group, you can post your questions and photos in there and I will help you. Like I said, next week I will be finishing it, because I know that my family does not watch my YouTube channel, so I am going to be gifting this wrap to my cousin Lynn, who came up with the idea, and I know she's going to love that faux fur. So I'm very excited to finish it and send it to her before Christmas. So I have to finish it on Monday next week. Oh, you're going to search for my email. Or let me just show you what it is. It's J Stern. Oops. If anybody wants to send me photos to share with everybody, or whatever, or if you want to email me questions, it's jsterndesigns37@gmail.com. It's my email. It's also under most videos. It's in my link tree. So definitely send them to me and let me know if I can share. So Sylvia wanted to share, so I'll share her raglan sleeve top next week with you guys. I'll put it right on the screen so you guys can see it. All right, Tana wants to share hers too, right, Tana? All right. So what was I going to say? Oh, there will be Monday cool tools. I'm just going to tell you, I'm featuring the ditto form. How could I not? So if anybody's interested in more in-depth information about the ditto form, join me, because I'm actually going to be on a call with Carol, the owner of Ditto Form, later today. So if she has any new exciting information to impart to me, I will have that and share it. Or if there's things she wants to point out that I am not aware of, I'm going to share it. So it's going to be Ditto Form Cool Tool on Monday. And then Tuesday I'll have a fit tip. No subscriber Q&A through the end of the year, because I'm trying to consolidate my time to get other things done. But I will get subscriber Q&A going again next year. So that's my plan for next week. And remember, Friday next week, we will definitely be finishing these cozy wraps so I can gift it to my cousin. So there you are. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope it starts to feel a little bit more like the season, Mary, up in Michigan. I really enjoyed the crisp hike this morning. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me. And I just want you to know I appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you so much. And I will see you again very, very soon. All right. Bye-bye.